Hello and welcome to the next preview of my MSI 2023 preview series where we're going to cover G2, who dropped out of the LEC playoffs yesterday. G2 obviously locked their MSI slot during the winter split. Personally, I think the team took their foot off the gas in spring and glorified scrimmed it literally the entire time, pretty much. So how much stock do I put into what happened in spring? Not as much, outside of maybe, taking note of the different styles they attempted and things like that. The coach is Dylan Falco. Dylan Falco is 42 and 35 internationally. Worlds 2017 out in quarters, 18 runner-up, and Worlds 2022 out in groups. MSI results in MSI 2018 and 2022. Dylan Falco dropped out in semifinals, obviously with G2 last year, and I think before that he was with Fnatic. In top lane we have Broken Blade. These numbers are not outstanding. You have to keep in mind he did play for TSM the first time he went to an international event. He's 14 and 19 in his career at MSI and Worlds, 1.96 KDA, 744 CS per minute, 53.7 KP. So he does struggle compared to the top international talent in the top lanes. 369 gold per minute, 415 damage per minute, 10 solo kills in those 33 games. As far as laning phase is concerned, he does lose a bit, but it's not gigantic. He's on average down 87 gold, 7 CS, and 200 XP. At Worlds 2020 and 2022, he was out in group stage. MSI 2022, he was out in semifinals. Now, the numbers domestically are a bit startling when you consider how good G2 did in winter, and then went to a 5-game series yesterday against Mad Lions. So these are within 12 games. 311 KDA, which is good, but a 778 CS per minute, slightly lower than you'd want it to be, especially when you consider he was only in 50.2% of the kills, so more on his own in the side lane. So when people say, oh, well, he's playing this champion or that champion, it's like, okay, well, what's that champion's purpose? Is it a tank to join team fights? Is it a facilitator that's supposed to fight, or is it a carry? Like, well, a facilitator to create and then a carry to carry in the side lane and get gold. Like, you're one of those three things, right? Even a support, you're more of a facilitator in a tank in certain situations. So, struggled a bit. I think it's pretty clear why that is, and we'll get into it. 389 gold per minute, 430 damage per minute, 5 solo kills. And then what was a troubling part, on average down 355 gold, 12 CS, 277 XP. So he's getting gapped in the top lane on average, and that's not going to work. And he's going to have to step it up internationally. Luckily for G2 now, they are in play-ins. Play-ins, I think, will allow them an opportunity to get better, right, against the PSGs of the world, whoever represents Vietnam, DFM, Golden Guardians, and especially BLG, who I think are better than G2. Now, in the jungle, you have Yike. Yike is the only player on this team with no international experience. In the jungle role, I think that is very important because he is responsible for making things happen, or he's a carry-oriented jungler, which he is more of the latter. He is not super young either. I think he's 22 years old. So, you think about a rookie, you're like, oh, maybe he's, 18, 19, 20 years old. No, he's 22. And that's still young. He has many years left in his career. But at the same time, you're going to have junglers at this tournament that are probably younger than him that you've seen more of, and you may have casted judgments on those players. And it kind of just goes to show you just how long it may take for a player to develop in some cases. Usually I give it till about 22 before you kind of are like, okay, well, this player's hands are the way they are. Their mechanics can get better, I guess, but I think that now you need to start focusing on matchup-specific things, gain experience, and things like that. So, Yike is a carry-oriented jungler through and through. 317 KDA, 6 CS per minute. You're not going to find many junglers. 6 CS per minute. You're not going to have many junglers with that high of farm, especially based on the meta. We've seen the Belveth out of him. We've seen other champions that kind of scratch your head. But at the same time, this is G2 trying to get creative, right? Because they are scrimming. But I do think after watching Yike for the last 2 splits, he is better on carries. Which has caused BB and even Caps to drop in farm. This is a thing that I think it's a tough call. But you start becoming one-dimensional, right? Because you can't put Yike on a facilitator and expect to do as well as when you put him on a carry. But Caps is the best player on the team, so what do you do about that? It's a tough situation. 67.6 KP, 394 gold per minute, so more gold per minute than the top laner. 503 damage per minute. He out-damages BB2, hence the carry moniker I'm giving him. 1 solo kill, and on average, he is gapping the enemy jungler because he's getting farm in other areas that the other jungler does not, and especially because he's more focused on farming. He's up 490 gold, 18 CS, 537 XP. So he's the one that's given the resources in the early game. He's the one that has to take that early game lead and execute on it. And he's done a good job often throughout the LEC winter and spring splits. But at an international level, all the pressure is going to be on him if they're playing this way. And right now, that is the way they're playing. And you look at the other junglers at this event in the major regions, Kanavi, Shun. Those 2 are carry-oriented junglers. Peanut and Owner I don't see as carries. I see them as more as facilitators. Obviously elite at their role. But I would say Kanavi and Shun are best on carries. And when you compare them to Yike, good luck, Yike. Like, I think that those 2 are in a class of their own. And you even look at somebody like, Blabber's a facilitator. River is a cross. He can do both, which is why he's did so well with PSG in the past. And honestly, I think at this event, he could do some really great things. So Yike fitting into this is going to, he's either going to have to play, he's going to have to threaten facilitators, like even if they're when they're against like Latin America, no offense, LLA fans, or Brazil or Japan, one of those teams that you think G2 should beat anyways. If they put him on facilitators, they could create the threat and draft for the other teams that, okay, well, he played Jarvan yesterday, he could play Jarvan. Oh, he could play Maokai. Oh, he could play Sejuani. He can do these things. So we've seen him play these things. It's not to say that he can't, but you're noticing in the playoffs, at least with these numbers, that's not what they're relying on, right? So you create that threat, it creates some bans and allows you to be a little bit more than one-dimensional in that regard. And it's actually funny to think that because of the way G2 plays with all their crazy picks and things like that, are they one-dimensional? And it's like, given that BB has picked action a couple times, these numbers should not be the way they are. Or no, once. Photon picked it. So clearly you can see Vitality and G2 were scrimming. Then, these numbers should be higher if he's picking things like action and stuff like that. But that's kind of how I'm seeing it, because like Caps' numbers internationally, fabulous. Obviously, 127 career games between MSI and Worlds. One of the most at the event. 2.37 KDA, 854 CS per minute, 69 KP. Definitely, if he's not first in terms of Western mid laners all time, he's second. If he's not second, he's third. Obviously, very, very good. 69 KP, 410 gold per minute, 514 damage per minute, 57 solo kills in those 127 games. On average, in the first 15 minutes, he keeps up with his opponent. Slight advantage, 155 gold, 1 CS, 112 XP. His results internationally, Worlds 2017 out in quarters, Worlds 2018 and 2019 he was runner-up, and then Worlds 2020 he was in semifinals, Worlds 2022 out in groups. So a lot to take in there. MSI results, Worlds 2019 he would win, and then MSI 2019 he won. MSI 2018 and 2022 out in semifinals. Now, the numbers in the playoffs for the LEC, I will say, and I said it yesterday, I think Caps has not, like I said, I think he's playing more facilitator role. Yike is given a lot more carry opportunities, And I think that that's not the best way to play for the team, but regardless, these numbers aren't great. 215 KDA, 788 CS per minute, 55 KP. This is not good. This is not good. A lot of fights occurring without him involved, which is fine. That means you're a skirmish-heavy team. And somebody could say, okay, well, that's why they're not involved. It's like, okay, well, what are you doing then? If they're fighting in bot lane and you're not involved, you should be doing something, right? You should be getting farm. Right? That's the only other thing you should be getting, right? Or create pressure on Rift Herald, which should be reflected in your gold per minute or whatever. 406 gold per minute, 493 damage per minute, 8 solo kills. On average, up 244 gold, down 5 CS, 112 XP. In bot lane, we have Hansama. He is 10 and 16 internationally, 237 KDA, 945 CS per minute, 69.6 KP. He's in the mix there. I wouldn't put him anywhere close to Elk, Ruler, Guma, or Pays, but he's in that second tier there below them. 419 gold per minute, 524 damage per minute, 5 solo kills, 244 gold up, 2 CS, 27 XP. Internationally in Worlds 2017, he would be out in quarters, I believe. Yeah. And then Worlds 2020 and 2021 out in groups with Rogue. Hans with TL did succumb to the pressure, in my opinion, on the big stage, where TL didn't make it to, the post. Well, Team Liquid didn't make it to an international event last year. Hansama was their AD carry. Hansama looked a little bit all over the place in those finals. We'll see if he can handle the pressure at MSI. Luckily, they're in play-ins instead of being on the big stage right away. In terms of the playoffs, I thought he was excellent. 6 KDA, 912 CS per minute is low, but he isn't dying a lot, so he's giving up a bit of farm so he doesn't die. You take that for what you will. 70 KP, he's the most involved player on the team. 467 gold per minute, 644 damage per minute, 5 solo kills, up 370 gold, 7 CS, 272 XP, so he's creating advantages in the laning phase. A lot of people really get on their knees for his Draven and things like that. I think he's going to be against players that know how to play against Draven at this event, so good luck with that. Now, Mikyx, obviously a very good support. One of the best Western supports, I would say, ever. 31 and 25 internationally, 1.37 KDA, so he does die a lot on the big stage. 61.9 KP. He is not... he's on teams that are very skirmish heavy. He kind of holds his... I would argue he holds the AD carry's hand, but he isn't as involved as you would see other supports, which is kind of surprising. 2.84 gold per minute, 2.84 vision score per minute, 168 wards placed per minute, clears about 2 wards every 5 minutes, and then has over 1 ward every other minute vision ward wise. Internationally, Worlds 2016, he was out in groups. 2019 was runner-up. 2020 out in semifinals. MSI 2019 he would win with Caps and G2. In the playoffs, a 201 KDA, 62.3 KP. So this tracks with the 60 in international play. 329 vision score per minute, 1.75 wards per minute. Clears about 1 ward every other minute, and then 1.43 vision wards per minute. So like 2 every 5. How I break that down and how I think about it, he is very good at finding vision and helping in that regard. May not be fighting as much. Obviously, when we see Mickey play, he can fight and he can do what he's got to do. I think he's very good in that regard. But I think a lot of his value comes with vision control and, things like that. So this team definitely is an interesting one. There are very talented players on this team. But I think that right now, the way they are playing, you take it for what you will. Are they scrimming? Are they not? I 100% do not buy the just terrible cope about them throwing on purpose. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. I think that take is what I wipe my ass with. I think that's a terrible take. I do not believe teams purposely throw at the highest level. And if it were to be found out that that happened, they should be banned for match fixing because they purposely fixed the game and the series and did not attempt to play in a sportsmanlike fashion. So as far as that's concerned, that's how I feel about that. 2 more videos for the MSI previews. VCS finals are tomorrow. We'll talk about that in the roundup, as well as the LEC finals tomorrow. So thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a supporter, and thank you for watching.